Welcome to Sit on That Stump in Muddy Bottom with Vikki Parker. Vikki is an author and the CEO of Options Pregnancy Center in Cabot, Jacksonville, and Beebe. Now, here's Vikki.
Welcome back to Sit on That Stump in Muddy Bottom. We are so excited that you're joining us today, and I've got a very special guest. I'm so excited about having him. This is Terrence Farrier. And he's going to talk to us about the Lamb's Plan and the hope that it brings to individuals and families and communities around Arkansas. And I'm just, Terrence, I'm so excited about you being here. Sit on That Stump in Muddy Bottom. We are on Faith Talk 99.5 every Thursday at 6 o'clock p.m. and then again on Saturday. So even if you miss us at one point, you'll pick us up on Saturday if you missed Thursday, but you can also go back to faithtalk995.com and you can listen to all of our past podcasts as well. And if you're on iTunes or if you're on, say, iHeart or any of those, Spotify, you'll also find Sit on That Stump Muddy Bottom there as well. So we're just excited about being able to bring this show to you today and for you to get to meet Terrence. And so, Terrence, for listeners hearing about the Lamb's Plan for the very first time, what is Lamb's Plan?
The Lamb's Plan is a place where young ladies can go when they're pregnant and they don't have a place to go. We want to give them the opportunity to have a place to stay. They'll be fed, and we will give them the opportunity to have counselors. We've already got some people who are willing to even volunteer their time to us, and adoption agencies later on if the young lady decides that she wants to birth the baby, and that's the only time we get involved, by the way, is when a young lady decides she's going to birth a child, not necessarily keep the child, but birth the child. And we have a lot of folks that are wanting to help us, but we are trying to buy the land right now, and that's where the 501c3 comes in. So you can donate later on. We'll get into that, but that's what it's all about. So
well, good. I'm glad that you shared that with us. So for example, if there's I run a pregnancy center. And if I have a girl at the pregnancy center that she needs a place to, so it's like a maternity home per se, because she can come. She doesn't have a place to stay. There's people that are not supporting her, for example, and she's having a difficult time finding a place. Maybe she's been kicked out of her home, for example, or she doesn't have the means to be able to get on her feet just yet. She's going to need some help to do that. But in the interim, while she's carrying the baby, she needs a place to stay. And so really what you're wanting to do is provide a home for these young women to be able to have a safe place with food, covering, and all of that to come and be able to make their decisions, what they're going to do if they want to choose adoption or if they want to parent. Can you tell me a little bit about the programs maybe that while they're there, kind of what that might look like?
Sure. When they first come in, they'll be assigned someone that will get to know them, number one. Number two is the counselors that we've already had say they'll help us with the volunteering. They're certified. That's what we want. And there's some medical staff that will come in periodically and look at them and that kind of stuff. And, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm just a doctor of a different sort. But these folks, they have the ability to help a young lady see past the trauma. When some of the changes and some of the things that we offer the young lady when she's there at the Lamb's Plan is things like learning how to run a household, learning how some business aspects that will transfer so they can get a job later on instead of just fix and, put a Band-Aid on it. No, that's not what we're about. We want them to have something that they can walk out of there in 12 to 14 months and say, okay, I've got a job, I can sustain myself, and give them a real feeling of sustainability.
Yeah, that's awesome. So the reality is they do get to stay there, Terrence, for a year to 14 months to get those. And I think that's great. That's one of the things I love the fact about that you're going to be able to help them learn how to, so many of the girls that come through our pregnancy center, they don't know how to balance a checkbook. They've never even seen a checkbook. In fact, they probably don't write checks. They probably just got debit cards if they've got anything. And, a lot of them, what happens is they want to give life. They want to be able to offer to that life to this baby, but they just don't have the support from whether it be their family or their significant other, maybe the baby's father, but they just don't have anyone to do that with. But so many of them come to us that do not know how to function on a daily basis in life. And I think that's so important that's one of the things that you guys are going to be planning on doing. You're going to have people there that's going to help them to learn how to do that. And, if we help people with a hand up, not a hand out, but a hand up, it's such a beautiful thing to be able to do that and help them to move forward into life and be able to do some really important things. So will there be possible job placement? Is that in the long-term plan, or helping them find that resource for that?
Well, absolutely. Otherwise, we couldn't really sustain, what we want to do for them. During the time that they're there, they'll start showing proclivities in some of the skill sets they're taught. And of course, they're going to say, well, what I'd like to do? Well, we can help them along those lines, but they have to have skill sets in order to actually perform those things so somebody will hire them. And that's what we want to do. As a professor, I can teach them some business skills, but I can't teach them a lot of the other things that we'll have people there to help them with. And I'm just the founder and president. I won't run the place because, number one, I'm just going to be frank with everybody here, is I'm a single man, and these young ladies are vulnerable. I don't want to ever be caught in that trap or even be thought of as being caught in that trap. Right. I won't be there. My directors will run it. I will oversee it and help them when I can. But hopefully if we do this right, and that's the only way I want to do it, because I didn't ask for this. God sent me to it. I'll talk to you about that shortly. But we have to do this the right way. Right. And that means a lot to me because I'm the steward, and I've been given a job.
Right. And I appreciate you sharing that with the audience today, because it's really important that I think that they know and they understand the integrity behind it, and that your intention is God just gave you the heart to start this. I also love the fact, and would love you to speak for just a minute, a little bit about your background, if you don't mind. Share with people who, what your doctor is in, what your degree is in, because I think that's so helpful to be able to, with your ability to be able to come and help these women with the level of expertise that you already carry. And a lot of these women that come through this, they've never even had an opportunity maybe to go to college yet. They can, but they haven't had an opportunity yet to go to college. They haven't had an opportunity yet to do the things and see the things that they could possibly want to do in life. In fact, most of them that we have come through our center, they don't, they haven't had the opportunity or anyone who even told them that they could dream, that they could want something. So just, if you will, Terrence, just share with the audience kind of what your background is and where your expertise is that you can come in and teach classes on.
Well, before I say that, and forgive me, but I've got to say this so that everybody understands the soul that's behind it. I give all of this anytime I help somebody for real. I give it to the glory of God, and I really do that, and I mean it. So my background is only to support the things that we're talking about right now. My degree is in Applied Management Decision Sciences, and I've worked as the advisor for 2-star generals and above at Joint Forces Command. I've been around for a long time in the reserves. I was, for over 30 years, I was a business consultant on the civilian side, and I was a consultant for the generals on the military side. So I've been around a bit, but I've learned an awful lot, and a lot of people have taught me more than I've ever taught them. But the whole idea is I'll listen. So when we talk about the Lamb's Plan and how it got started, this is mind-bending for me. At least it was at the time it happened. It still is when I think about it. I was in South Carolina, and I started to go to bed. And I think this was in the fall of 2017. And I started to go to bed, and I kept seeing 5 numbers, and I had no idea what that was all about. And I kept seeing 5 numbers, and I couldn't sleep the whole night. Every time I'd close my eyes and see 5 numbers, I had no idea what that was all about.
Yeah.
Had no idea. And the second night, I didn't sleep the whole night. The second night, started to go to bed again, and guess what? Same 5 numbers. And they popped up, and this time I said, Lord, you want me to play the lottery? And then I tickled at myself. I said, well, that's not very spiritual. So, but I still didn't go to sleep. The third night, I started to go to bed and seen the same 5 numbers. Now, I'm getting a little cranky at this point because I hadn't slept for 2.5 days. And but I finally got up and I wrote the 5 numbers down. And I slept for an hour and a half. The next week, all I could think about was what were those 5 numbers. And I finally put them in a computer. The 5 numbers was a zip code. So I went there in faith, walked the area. It was beautiful. I mean, the area was truly beautiful, but it was, rural. And I kept thinking, Lord, why'd you send me here? And I walked a little bit of it. And then I got back to the house in South Carolina, and for the whole week it bothered me. And then I seen a movie, and it's called Unplanned. I hope if you get the opportunity, listeners, please go watch that movie. It will explain a great deal about what we're trying to do. Does that help? Yeah,
it really does. So that's really where the Lord placed this vision in your heart, wasn't it?
Absolutely. No doubt.
Yeah. Well, so what you said was when you got back home in South Carolina, but that zip code was not in South Carolina, was it? It was in Arkansas.
It was. It was in Arkansas. I can't tell you exactly where, and let me tell you why. And I've talked to my directors about it. You can't reveal places that you're trying to buy, which is what we're asking donations for right now, because as soon as you do that, it's an amazing thing. The price goes up, just jumps up astronomically, at least double. I mean, it really does every time. I wouldn't be a very good steward if I divulged the exact place, but it is in Arkansas.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to know. You know, what I like about this plan is that over the years, and Terrence, you and I have talked about it many times before, but when I started the Pregnancy Center 25 years ago, there was 4 or 5 maternity homes in the state. Now there is maybe 1, possibly 2. I'm not even sure that there's 2, but I think there's at least 1 left in the state. So when I say that, there was a window of time that there was not a place for women to come and stay during their pregnancy when they didn't have anybody to support, they didn't have anybody to help them, they didn't know where to go. And like I said, they were basically doing the sofa surfing. I've seen a lot of girls do sofa surfing over the years. And so that's been really hard to watch. And I think we're at a place where we're back again where I think that they're willing to do just that. I think they're willing to stop the sofa surfing so that they can get in one spot. They can know that they're going to have food. They know they're going to be in a warm place. They know they're going to be cared for, and that they're going to have a roof over their head to deliver this baby and have a healthy pregnancy and carry that baby to term. And I think I really think that over the period of time, we're going to have a lot more in the next year to 2 years that we're going to see that is going to, because the truth about it is with the abortion pill that has been so prevalent, women are learning the devastation of what they're going to have to suffer through by taking that pill. That it sounded easy on one end, but then as they took the pill and they realized the depth of what they was going to have to experience was not what they wanted. But by that time, honestly, it's too late. It's just too late for them to do that. So I think it's really important what you're doing. I think this organization's going to be a great place for them. And I just know from starting an organization like you're doing now, that there will be more to it, even because God opens a door. He finds somebody that'll open the door, get it started, and then the need that begins to develop. And there'll be, as you get in there, like when I opened the center, I knew we needed parenting classes to teach these little mamas how to do that. Then I realized, oh, well, they're going to need daddy classes too. And, oh, yeah, well, they're going to need they need to learn how to set an appointment, keep it, earn while you learn, these kind of things that may be a little bit different for you in there, but it'll be the same concept because you're teaching them how to live in the outside world. And where they maybe mom was the one who always kept the appointment, and so you didn't have to think about it or worry about it, and it just went on like that. So tell me about, is the Lambs Plan a Christian organization, and do individuals have to be Christians to receive help there?
It is a Christian organization. However, we do not demand that somebody's a Christian when they first come. We certainly hope they are by the time they leave. But that has an awful lot to do with the people that you involve yourself with in the Lambs Plan. You know, when they come in, we screen them pretty good. And we need to know what their spiritual walk looks like in order for them to be a counselor or a team member or something like that. Because you can't judge. Judgment is out the door. That is absolutely zero. The good thing about pregnancy centers is we're opening that door to a longer stay, just as Vikki just said, so that they don't feel like they're just pieces of a jigsaw puzzle moved around just because it's convenient for folks. Well, if they're in one spot, at least they have a home and they begin to know the people that are there. And that's the whole reason for those counselors and team members to be there, is so that they can adjust to that particular type of environment.
Right. Well, and I love that. And that's the way pregnancy centers work as well. They are made where it doesn't matter who walks in the door. It doesn't matter where they're at. It doesn't matter whether they're, regardless of what they are, we always are there willing and waiting on them, and we're going to serve them no matter what situation that they're in as well. So I love that about this organization. Tell me where you came up with the name Lambs Plan.
Well, I thought I had a hard time about it, and then I sat down and said, this is not just something that involves, spirituality alone. Here, and let me explain this for a second, so you don't think that I'm out there in left field. A lot of the times when you do your research, a lot of the times these young ladies who are not supported, and they get out there and the world treats them like secondary citizens. When that happens, a lot of the times they end up, in drug programs and welfare systems and stuff like that. Well, guess what? That doesn't save a life when that happens, number one. Number two is the costs are every bit as high as, somebody that would instead donate to help organizations such as the Lamb's Plan. And I kept thinking, from the business perspective, the patriotic perspective, and the spirituality perspective, the Lamb's Plan is what God wants us to try to do. Certainly fits all three of those categories. So I stuck with that when I got it in my head.
Oh, that's great. I love that name. I think that's I think it's a great name that, just knowing women that are in the crisis place, in that scary place, not knowing where they're going and what they're going to do, that it's generic enough in the way that it's not going to be threatening to them, for sure. So how would this affect the community surrounding? How do you see this? Like if it's in a community and there's somebody listening, and a year from now or 6 months from now they realize, oh, I remember hearing that guy on Vikki's show, and I think they're the ones that got that land, or they're the ones that's starting to build that land, build that building, and what have you. How would that enrich their community? How do you feel like it's going to serve their community?
I think mainly you will start to see young ladies, out in the town and things like that when they go in to buy things and stuff like that. And you realize that the way they talk, the way they handle themselves, and the way their spiritual life is beginning to unfold right before your eyes, all of a sudden, people start looking at spirituality differently than what typically you can go to church, but people who walk out of the church, do they act like they went to church? I mean, these folks, hopefully, if we do it the right way, you'll know it. They don't have to tell you. You'll see it. So, is that positive? Oh, my goodness, yes.
Well, and not only that, but I think it makes it very positive, the fact that what I hear you saying is we're going to teach them how not to live above welfare, to not be dependent on it, because I don't think anybody comes into life wanting to be dependent on the government.
That's personal pride.
Yeah, and so it's so important that we are able to help them to do that, and I feel like that's part of what I'm hearing you say is we want to get them. We want to turn out great human beings. We want to help great human beings become even greater and create the cycle so that their children are even, they mimic their parents, because people, be real, that's exactly what happens with our kids. They mimic what they see. And so if they see anger, they're going to mimic anger. If they see love, they're going to mimic love. If they see forgiveness, they're going to mimic forgiveness. And they're going to live what they see. And so I think that's really important. So walk us through, if you will, if you know enough about that at this point. I'm sure you do. But walk us through, like, the girl arrives, and so what would that look like for her first maybe moments there? If the audience could kind of get a visual picture of what that would look like through intake and settling. What do the rooms look like? Will they be sharing a room? Will they have their own room? How will that work? And especially once the baby comes and they're living there, because if I understood, and we'll talk more about that, but like 12 to 14 months, so that's a good long time.
Basically, what the plans are first is they'll be indoctrinated much to what the kind of conversations we're having right now. And then they're going to meet the pastor and his wife, because that's who's going to run it overall, because that's who we want to hire to do that job, because we want them to see a solid family, a Christian solid family, and be able to mimic that kind of thing and learn from it. That they'll meet them, and then they'll meet the team members. They'll meet the person that will be assigned to them, and then we will show them whether they will sleep and that kind of thing. And the way it's planned right now is they will have their own bedroom and share a kitchen and living room with another young lady, and they'll be, have their own thing, and they'll be given a schedule. They'll be given study times and stuff like that, and where to be to learn such and such a thing, because again, it is a longer term. I don't know how to say this without sounding like I'm overly stepping, but it's like a home on steroids for them. They'll have a place to work, sleep, learn, and learn to love in the operation. And again, we have people that are offering some of their time, which decreases some of our costs, thank goodness. But because we've got to buy the land first, we know where it's at, but we got to get the donations in to buy the land. So that's just about the gist of it at this point.
So how many girls do you see to house at any one time?
In the beginning, our plans are to have 8, just 8.
Okay.
And we're going to learn from that because, just like you say, and things expand as you understand more of your client, in this case, the young lady who's pregnant, and find out what their needs are. And, we'll ask people like Walmart and folks like that to help us out when they can and that kind of thing. So we're learning all these things now. And I will tell you from a personal standpoint, I've talked to a lot, and I know pregnancy centers have done this a lot more than me, but I'm learning. I've talked to a lot of ladies who have had abortions and what they go through, and I really have. And then some people who didn't abort, and then they met their child later. And these things stick. When you learn about those things to that kind of depth, and I know Vikki's done this an awful lot. I know because she was the one that got me interested in it when I first sat down in front of her 2 or 3 years ago. And I understand that after talking with them, and I'm understanding and learning more and more. So having the opportunity to reverse some of these things and make it more positive, not just for the communities they're in, but the young ladies, and trying to make it so that those costs don't become increasingly burdensome on the tax base for the communities and the state and national group that they represent.
Well, that's awesome. And I think you're right. And a couple of things that I think you just hit on was this. What I heard you say is that, like, if someone comes and they have had a previous abortion, for example, and someone in the community, if there's a pregnancy center that's close, for example, that has a post-abortion ministry like we do, that where we carry them through a freedom weekend to get their healing from a past abortion, that they would be able to do that, and y'all would make that possible. And also, up in the 90 percentile, Terrence, of women out there have, we've been told over the years that have sexual abuse in their history, and they also have abortion in their history, whether they were the ones that was forced, or they did it by choice, or maybe they took someone, maybe they encouraged someone. But the guilt and the shame is what the enemy uses against all of us, to try to control us, to try to make sure that we do not feel like we're worthy to live in the kingdom of God, that the Lord would never accept us. And that is so untrue, as we so very well know that it is just not the truth. But the enemy would like for us to believe that it is the truth. So those would be, you would be open to that. Anyone coming in, they could come in and, or maybe get them to a local Bible study to help them to get healing from all that, and because that's going to help too. That's going to help get them to a much healthier place. They're going to feel more, they're going to feel better about themselves because they're going to realize the true grace of God, the true mercy that the Lord did for us on the cross, and that it was already paid for in for them as well. So y'all would be open to that, in other words. So
not only open to it, now that's one of the things that the directors will help me choose the preacher and his wife, because they need to be well grounded in that area.
Right.
And then once that happens, I'll have somebody right there next to them at any time they need it. And, of course, if they need more, they'll have the counselors, and that's what we're trying to do. Because that, everybody deserves, if you want to call it a second chance, you can find them. I'd call it a chance, because God don't give up on you because you messed up once. If he did,
right.
None of us would be here.
That's right.
But that's something that a lot of people, they have such a stigmatism, and I'm sorry to say this, but it's true. They have such a stigmatism about somebody unwed getting married, getting pregnant, and things like that. And when they throw that at them, all they're doing is shutting the door to help them.
Right.
The instant they do that, that's exactly what they're doing. That is not what God wants, and He made sure I understood that. So if I ever want to sleep again, this is a good thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely, because He will keep you awake. He will not let you sleep when he's determined that you're the one that's going to carry the mantle for that, for sure. So tell me that, like, the length of time is interesting, and I don't believe there used to be a program a long time ago. I don't even think that program's still available anymore. But there did used to be a program that if a lady was pregnant, it didn't have to be a teen. It could be an adult also. She could come and she could stay at this place. And so at this particular one I'm thinking about, Terrence, if she had children, like if she had a toddler, for example, she could bring that toddler with her. I don't know if that's possible in this, if y'all have even thought of that in this situation. That might be something God does later. I don't know, or He may not do it at all. But sometimes we've seen that happen where there's been women that wouldn't go because they had another children. They didn't have anybody to leave that child with. Or they, for the period of time. But there was a program here that did that, and they had their particular place had almost like a little apartment. It was almost like a little apartment in that entire facility. And so the girls would have their own little apartment so they could keep their children, but they also, they attended the classes, they did all that stuff, but they had, I think there was somebody there that almost like an on-site daycare for them. So if they were going to a class or they had something like that, they offered that to them. So I don't know if y'all thought that far ahead, if that's something that you might offer at some point.
Well, that's kind of in the works because, again, we're at the stage now that we've got to buy the land first. Unless you walk up with $100,000 and start talking about buying land, it's mox nix. So that's a reason I hope that the folks that are hearing this will donate so we can get that land and start building the buildings. We've already got some plans for the buildings. They're rudimentary, but they're not, just beginning either. And we know how to cut our costs down as much as we can. But unless we buy the land first, that's not going to happen. But getting back to your original question, when the young ladies volunteer, like team members and stuff like that, they'll go to these classes too. That way that they're getting something back for their volunteerism, and they will learn stuff that they typically wouldn't learn just anywhere, and they will be better prepared once they say, okay, I can't volunteer after a year and a half, 2 years, and because I'm getting married or whatever the case may be, or moving, but they'll have some skill sets too. So the ability for someone to come in that's been has a child already and needs the Lamb's Plan services, those young ladies who are there volunteering will probably also act as babysitters for the time when the mom needs to be in these classes and that kind of stuff. because we're not going to shut anybody out. We're just going to expand it. And all we're wanting to do is get people to see the value, the passed on value of this. And once you start really thinking about it, you'll start seeing it too. And like I say, I'm still learning, but I'm not the ones behind it. I've got a boss, and he says, do this, I'm going to do it. It may hurt me, but I'll do it.
Right. Well, and so in a community, for example, there might be someone that has the skill of interviewing. They interview for their job, their upper echelon of management, but they see what you're doing, they hear what you're doing, and they're like, we want to be part of this. How could I come in? I don't have time to come every, I can't come every week or every month or whatever, but maybe there might be several business owners or business people in the management level that maybe they would come in and teach them how to interview well. So even if it's, and I've always said this, even if it's a job at McDonald's, let's get the highest paid job there. Let's go for the goal. It doesn't matter where you have to work. Let's get the best job there, and let's interview well, because if you interview well, then you're going to rise in the ranks. And that's what we want for these young women, for them to be able to rise in the ranks. Anytime they do that, they're going to feel more confident. They're going to feel professionally ready. And what about some people in the community, for example, Terrence, that would come in and say, hey, I've got a secondhand dress store, and I would be willing to come in and teach the girls how to dress for success. And they would come in and be able to do that. So in all areas, maybe there's a hairstylist that's listening that says, I was a teen mom, and I didn't have anybody to walk me down this street. I had to do it by myself or whatever. But I have a skill that I can help with. I can help with makeup to look professional, so that to help you look your very best and present the very best. Life coach. All of my people at our pregnancy center, for example, are life coaches. A lot of pregnancy centers that I've certified across the state, they're life coaches. So they can come in and volunteer their life coach training to help them, again, work through some situations. Because some of these girls don't even know how to manage time. You've got time management that's got to be done. Everything that we kind of take for granted, I think, is open for support. And if you can give it, even if it's like 1 month, another stylist comes in, or another maybe a makeup artist or somebody like that would come in and show these girls how to do these kind of things, because we want them to feel good about themselves. And there's no better time to help them feel good about themselves than when they're pregnant. Because us as women, we don't feel very pretty when we're pregnant anyway. We feel loved because we got that beautiful baby inside of us. But as far as feeling great about ourselves, that's not necessarily what we're feeling. We're feeling overweight. We're feeling all those things, swollen and all that. But feeling that beautiful baby move and know that we're going to have that we're creating a little human being is quite another deal. So what do you think about that, Terrence? Would that be something that the community at large, if wherever this lands, that would be something that would be a benefit across the board, to come in and be able to teach these young women?
Well, see, you hit on something that I thought about early in the beginning, and pregnancy centers already have some of these folks that are doing some of these things there. Now, the good thing about keying up and partnering with pregnancy centers is because I already know that. So what I'd like to do is touch base with them. But I got to keep going back to one single point here, is unless we have the land, all this is, again, Mox Nix. So we've got the donations, please send those in, because we're ready to go. We just need a little bit of help. And like I say, I'll talk with Walmart and folks like that and see if I can't. And the folks that are listening, if you know somebody in your organization that wants to help us do this, I mean, it's spiritually led. It's not a joke. I mean, this is some serious stuff. Please get us in touch with them, and you can reach us at thelambsplan.org. You can find the website, and you can donate there. And if anybody needs to reach me personally, I'll be glad to handle that. And it's T. Farrier. It's T as in Tango, Foxtrot, Alpha, Romeo, Indy, Echo, Romeo, at C as in Charlie, P as in Papa, B as in Bravo, S as in Sierra.us. I mean, I'll be glad to talk with you and come to your place. I'll bring the coffee. I mean, this is important stuff, folks. No joke. Because if I can step down from advising two-star generals and do this, and I do everything to my utmost, people who know that, but it's not me. It's all the power of God, and I do mean that. So please listen to what's been going on here. This is important.
Well, I would like to also share with the listening audience that, what you're offering here is long-term survival. You're the parent, though, the pastor and his wife, family, will they live in the house with them? Will they have their own area so that they're privately away, so the girls are not?
They will.
Yeah, good. That's going to be really important. But they see the kids and things. But are they going to be required to take Bible classes, or are they going to
talking about the clients, the women?
Yes.
Yes, it doesn't have to be every time, but they certainly need to, because otherwise you can't share some of the things that needs to be shared for their benefit, not just for a control thing. I mean, it's all about learning, and if you learn how to walk through the wickets, as they say, before you as you go through the briar patch and have to deal with your situation, then the only way we know how to help that is for you to continually be in touch with those who can help. And so it's loose, but they need to do that, yes.
Yeah. So, but Lamb's Plan is a 501c3 nonprofit?
Yes. It is.
So that means any donations, folks, that you would 100%. Want to support them with would be tax deductible. So that is that's good within itself. Do y'all have a website?
Yep, it's thelambsplan.org.
There you go, lambsplan.org. And churches, businesses, volunteers, and donors all can come and be involved, whether you can give of your services or whether you can give financially, monetarily. They will need everything. There'll be need for bedclothes to change and sheets and all of those kind of things that will be needed. There will be baby beds that will be needed, baby sheets and everything that goes with that. I love the fact that there's going to be somebody there to walk them through. I'll tell you something else, Terrence, that I see that is a very big part of all this, and that is that there will be a mom on staff there. That there's so many. I had a girl that I just saw not long ago on a movie that actually it was a true life movie, but they didn't. She didn't have the support system, so because she didn't have the support system, she also did not know how to parent a child. So she also didn't know they get frustrated in the middle of the night when they've went all night without sleep. They don't know how to navigate that at 16, 17, 18. Some 25-year-olds don't know how to navigate that. And let's be real, some 35s don't either. But because I was in my early 20s, and I thought I was going to die before I ever got to sleep all night. But you get used to it. You figure it out, But we could go and do other things all night long. It was just different when the baby was waking us up. So when I say that, I'm talking about that there would be somebody there, because sometimes
he's been through it.
Yeah, I think it's very important, because what it does is it helps to prevent child abuse. I think early on into life, I think it helps with that, and it changes that tremendously. So with all that being said, I just want to say I'm very thankful that you came and that you're willing to come and talk to us about Lamb's Plan, and share just one more time, if you don't mind, would you share with everyone what the website is, maybe how they can reach you, and just what they can do, whether it's a business or an individual or a church. And my guess is that you would be willing to come and talk to anybody, any group, if they'd like to get a hold of you and talk to any group about the ministry and how they could be part of it and get a better picture of it, along with what your plans are.
Okay, the best I can tell you is the website is the Lambs with an S, the Lambs Plan all together .org. That is the website where you can donate. You can read a little bit about it on the website, of course, but that donate button is big and red, and please use it, because we have to buy the land, and I need to hurry up and get this thing done. It's kind of putting pressure on me, because I'm afraid somebody else will find that place before we get a chance to get there. But it's all up to God, so I'm putting it in His hands. The Lamb's Plan, as far as you reaching out and needing to ask questions, if you do, you can reach me at T Farrier, and that's Tango Foxtrot Alpha Romeo India Echo Romeo at C as in Charlie, P as in Papa, B as in Bravo, S as in Sierra .us. And I'll be glad to come to your church, and please talk to other churches about this too, because we are sitting on prime. We're ready to go. We just need some help. So let's help the right way, and let's do it in the spirit of God too. Okay.
Well, and we want to make sure that that everybody that's listening across the state, it doesn't matter whether it's going to be located in your county or not, because all of, like us pregnancy centers, we would refer our girls that needed a place like this. We would be referring them to that place at Lamb's Plan, and that's LAMB, by the way, in case you're need to that B is kind of silent and all that, but it's LAMB. Yes. Plans, PLAN.
It's the Lambs with an S Plan.
Yeah, Lambs with an S Plan.
Plan.org.
Yes. So I want to thank you, Terrence, for joining us today and for sharing the vision behind the Lambs Plan. Friends, thank you for spending this hour with us, and join us on Thursday at 6 p.m. and Saturday at noon at Faith Talk 99.5 for Sit on That Stump Muddy Bottom with Vikki Parker, where we share how the muddiest pits, there is always diamonds that God has created in you, and He's looking for a way to use them. All you've got to do is be willing to walk in that area and let Him use what you think can't be used. He turns into a beautiful ministry and a beautiful way, and you have a plan on your life. God said it. He gave it to us in His Word, that He knows the plans He has for us to prosper us and to grow us. And so, if you will, until next week, we look forward to hearing from you and see you then. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
I was just sitting here thinking about some scripture that when someone is called to do a ministry, I remember back in the days when I started and the Lord was calling me into this. He's right. It is a very daunting thing, and there was some specific scripture that the Lord gave me. The very first one, I've relived many of these scriptures so many times, but the very first one He gave me was Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. And when I was going, Lord, I'm not your girl. I'm not the one. Oh, my goodness, I'm not the one. And He would say, if I called you, I will provide. You are the one. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. I felt just like I'm so unqualified. I'm not but I'll help you get it started. I'll go do the legwork. I'll do all that, kind of like what Terrence is doing, all this legwork. But what I want to say is this. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 says, trust in the Lord. Lean not on your own understanding. And in all things, acknowledge Him, and He will keep your path straight. So within that, He's given us instruction. All you got to do is trust me. I know what I'm doing. I'm the Lord God Almighty. After all, I did create everything you see and every breath that you take. I am who I say I am. And we know that, we believe that, but sometimes it's kind of hard for us to walk in that level of faith. I've said it before on the show, and I'll say it again. Walking in faith is one of the hardest things I have ever done. And it's a pretty word. We say that we have it. We say that we know what it is to walk in faith. But the truth about it is when we start trying to walk in that faith, it becomes very difficult. Well, it reminds me also of Jeremiah 29:11. And that is that He knows the plans He has for us. And this is the Lord's declaration. So over in Jeremiah 1 and 5, this one will end with, I chose you before I formed you in your mother's womb. I set you apart before you were born, and I appointed you as prophet to the nations. But I protested, oh no, O Lord, look, I don't know how to speak since I am only a youth. Then the Lord said, I'm going to leave you with this. Do not say I am only a youth, for you will go to everyone I send you and speak wherever I tell you. Do not be afraid of anyone, for I will be with you to rescue you. This is the Lord's declaration. He touches the mouth. He gives you the words. You don't have to have the words. All you have to do is be willing to walk in the path that He tells you to walk, trust in Him, and lean not on your own understanding, and I can promise you He will meet you where you are. So that's exactly what's happening with Terrence now. He's walking in that path, and it's a scary place. You may not know everything that you're going to be doing, and He usually don't show you the whole road, but He will show it to you. So I really thank Terrence for being here today and for the Lamb's Plan. So God bless.